In the 1910 census, you'll find that Mattie White, aka Mattie Faust. I do not know where the name Faust came from, but it was definitely our family. As I looked at the census report, and the entire family at that time was named Faust, and it's spelled F-A-U-S. So I can only assume that they were living in a household with someone else, because many family members did in those days, and they used that last name, but they listed everyone that was there. The family resided at Beat 1 in Lafayette, Mississippi. And there were multiple families that lived at that location. They didn't have the same last names except for their families and their children. So it seemed like to me it may have been a farm environment where they lived on a farm, or they lived in a certain select community. It was like community living, I would think. And at that time, the rest of the children were born. All of them at Beat 1 in Lafayette, Mississippi. That would be Annie. She was age 8. Mattie, age 7. David Ivory, who was known as D.I., was age 5. George Franklin, who was known as G.F., was age 3. Ida was age 2. And Pinks, who was called Will, was age 3 months. So those are all of the children. In the 1920 census, it revealed that Marion G. Lane, a.k.a. Madame G. Lane, a.k.a. Madeline G. Sane, lived at B1 in Marshall, Mississippi. So by this time, the family had moved to Marshall County as we know it now, which is the city where Holly Springs is. And that's pretty much where they grew up. And for Beat 1, that was Oxford, Mississippi, which is about 35 miles away from Holly Springs. The census also stated at that time that both parents were able to read and write, and the family was finally able to have a home of their own. In Chapter 1, if you remember, the family purchased a home on Salem Street, and they owned that property until the 1970s. The land now has been sold and redeveloped. In fact, it's various houses there. And at one time, pretty much on the same land that we had, my brother and his family lived there. I don't know who occupies the house now, so I would assume it's still standing. Once again, I say to you, I have connected our roots to unfold Chapter 2 on Mattie White Lane. Words cannot express how I felt when I found my grandmother and my great-grandparents' mother. The more information I find, the more I want to find, and I'm just excited when I start to research our roots, and somehow I feel like I'm actually there, or I'm standing somewhere where I can actually see what's happening, and it's unfolding right before my very eyes. I truly hope that we will continue our search for our forefathers, and hopefully we will be able to uncover more information about our heritage. With love and God's blessings, I want all of you to do this for me. Just hug yourself, because I'm hugging you, so I want you to hug me back, because that's some love. And I love all of you, and I've enjoyed being your historian for Chapters 1 and Chapter 2. I don't know what God's going to have me do for the next round, but hopefully He'll have me look into our history so that we can find out where our parents came from in terms of how we connect from Africa to the United States. So I say to you, I love you again. God bless you. And let's continue to enjoy each other.
Thank you, Annette.
And I do have copies for you. So I want each family member to see me for your copy of this Chapter 2 history on Mattie White Lane.